I just sat on Mouse. This is Mouse. Mouse is Asbo's favourite toy. Oh, as you can probably see. I'm not allowed Mouse. Asbo has to have Mouse. All right, here's a question from someone called Last Edit. I mean, that's not their name, but you know what I mean. Last Edit said, I have a question I'd be really happy if you could answer. I'm in recovery and it seems that I eat every day pretty much the same food, high caloric food that I used to fear. Is it possible that my brain's getting in the habit of it, like when I was orthorexic and only eating whole food? I will not lie, I'm a bit scared of that, not because of gaining weight. I'm ditching that fear these days. Thanks a lot anyway. All right, so what tends to happen is, well, you know safe foods. You know that we have safe foods when we have an eating disorder. And safe foods, the reason safe foods feel safe is because what's happened is you've worked out that if you eat that food at that time, in that quantity, in that order, you won't gain weight. That's why safe foods feel safe, because you feel safe from gaining weight if you eat like that every day. Now, what happens a lot of the time when you go into recovery is you're like, oh, I eat a load of orthorexic crap. I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to do what a person in recovery would do, and I'm going to start eating different foods, high calorie food, high fat food, foods that make me feel afraid. And when you first start eating those foods, you feel nervous about it. And then after a couple of days of eating those foods, you're like, oh, that's fine. But then the problem can be is those foods become the new safe foods, because you've been eating that type of food for a couple of days and you've realized that, wow, nothing radical has happened. This is fine. And then your brain's like, right, I don't want to change now. I want to stick to these foods. This is the new safe food. And so really, a food doesn't have to be a safe food a food doesn't have to be a low calorie or an orthorexic food in order to become a safe food. It's really any food that you've eaten for long enough to work out like, all right, this is fine. I'm not going to gain weight if I eat this food in this way, in this order. When you notice that starts to happen, when you notice that something has become a safe food, that means it's time to up the ante. So whatever it is that you're eating, it's probably the case that you're okay eating it in a certain quantity. So, say it's, chocolate bar. Then you're probably, all right, I've worked out that I can eat this chocolate bar at 11 o'clock, and then that starts to feel safe after a couple of days. Then I'm not saying don't eat that chocolate bar, especially if you really like it, but you start adding stuff. Well, what if I eat 2 of those chocolate bars? And your brain will probably go, don't you dare. And then you're like, that's something you're afraid of, isn't it? And then guess what you got to do? You got to do that. And then if you ate 2 of those chocolate bars, then after a while, your brain will probably be, all right, 2 chocolate bars is fine. 2 chocolate bars feels safe. And, then you've got to change something. Then you've got to up the ante. You've got to make it so that it feels not safe. And you keep on doing that. Whenever something feels safe, you keep on doing that, making it so that it feels not safe until there's nothing left. Until everything feels fine. If you notice that your brain is sort of attached to a certain food, that probably means that has become a safe food, because that stops happening when you're fully recovered. It's not like you don't like certain foods. Like, I've certainly got certain foods that I like more than others that I like eating, but it doesn't feel the same. It's not the same sort of attachment that it used to be when I was in recovery and a new sort of food came safe, and then my brain was like, right, let's just stay here, let's just eat this. I don't want to eat anything else but this. When you notice that your brain's doing that, then you need to challenge it. All right, Last Edit, I hope that helps. Bye.